Hello everyone and welcome back to Stirlingshire Homestead. If you're one of our longtime viewers, thanks for watching. We're on a fairly cloudy Saturday today. I have my family over, mom and dad, and we are in the process of installing compression fittings for all of our sink spots. So I got all these 4 on, I got all the ones downstairs on. Hopefully I did it right. If you are going to do this yourself, I would highly recommend the small space cutting tool for copper. This thing worked really well. It was like 14 bucks, and it's something I'll just keep because if I ever need to redo any of these, I can just redo them myself. Do not, if you have copper coming out of your wall, do not underestimate the power of a compression fitting. From what I understand, they're supposed to work pretty darn good, and you don't have to mess around with solder or any of that stuff. And cut off the end of the stub out, and then after you cut off the end, you can put that on, and all you gotta do is tighten it up with a wrench. So I've got a channel lock and a wrench that I've been using to tighten all these up. So I've got all these done now. First floor, second floor. The next step for me is to go into the basement and turn on the water, and hopefully there's no leaks. So I'll bring you through all this stuff. Oh, I lied. I've got one more right there for the toilet. But after I get that done, we'll go to the basement and we'll check for leaks. And we'll turn on the water, and I'll have one person in this room, one person in the master bathroom, and then we'll have one more person in the laundry room downstairs to check if there are leaks in any of these. And if there are, all I gotta do is holler and I'll shut the water off. And if there aren't leaks, we'll leave the pressure on, and then we'll test each water source, hot, cold, to make sure that each one of those water sources actually has water coming to it. So that's the plan. Hopefully we can get that done today, and that way my water system can go back on and we can all take showers later this afternoon. So it's kind of hinging on whether or not this works. Wish me luck. So I'm gonna finish this one up and then we'll go do a water test. And I don't know, 5 minutes later, done. I didn't even think it took that long. It took more time to run down and get the actual valve than it did to put that on. Ugh. So we're good there. So now the next step is to have somebody kind of sit here and monitor all of those as I turn the water pressure on. So that'll come in a little bit. We'll turn the light off to save some electricity here. And then keep going. We've got the finishing department working hard, getting all that stuff done. It's looking good. And I don't know. Now we're ready to test some things and keep sanding and painting and doing trim and putting together cabinets and all the other things. I'll come back to you for a water test here. So we throttled the whole system up, and I've got 2 drippers, but not so bad that we can't fix it. So we're gonna tighten these up and hopefully figure that out. These were okay. That one seems like it's okay. I'll come back to you when I figure that out. Okay, I think we figured it out. So a lot of these were initially leaking. We had slow drips from just about every single one of them. And the issue was, I've got 2 sets of channel locks here. You can see the size difference. I was using my small channel locks to tighten these up, and I was not, believe it or not, giving it enough pressure when tightening them down. I actually took off the whole fitting, and the little circular piece, I can show you with this one. So this little circular piece, that brass piece on the inside, the ferrule, or the olive is what people call it, this actually was not getting compressed enough. So I thought I was turning this really, really hard, but because I had a really tiny channel lock, it wasn't as hard as I needed to go. So what has to happen is this ferrule, or this olive, has to get compressed into the nut, and inside, you guys can probably see in there, into that collar on the inside of the fitting. And what was happening was, as I was tightening this down, I actually did not have enough pressure. Let me tighten this back up. I didn't have enough pressure to actually stop the water and get that olive to seal to the actual copper pipe. So the reason I knew that that was the case is because the olive piece itself, once it's compressed all the way onto the copper, should not be sliding around on the copper. And what was happening is it was sitting on the copper, and I was actually able to take this piece off, and I was able to slide it back and forth, which meant that it wasn't tight enough. But now that I've got that figured out, we're good to go here. And so what we're doing now is we have some paper towel underneath to test if these are going to leak at all. And based on what I'm seeing, it was because I wasn't tightening down enough. Those of you who know me, my nickname is Paws, P-A-W-S, and it's because when I was a kid, there's a little bit of moisture there. I might tighten this one just a little more. When I was a kid, I used to over-tighten things and cause them to break. And so I do my best now to be very ginger with things so I don't break them right away. And I think that was a detriment to me here. I got it snug with just my hands, and then I made about 2 turns, and I thought that that was way too tight already. It was not. So now that we figured that all out, it's working okay. And so now the only thing we have to do is monitor to make sure that there's no other drips throughout the rest of the afternoon. So we'll just leave all these here, and if the paper towel is wet when we come back in a few hours, we'll know that something is wrong. But for the most part, it's looking like the bigger tools made it work. I'll show you the downstairs here too, give me a bit. So same as the case for in here, we were having issues with this one, and that little olive was sliding back and forth, so I tightened that one up, it looks okay. And same with these, I tightened them up a little more and they look okay now. No more leaks. Yep. Yeah, nothing at all from those two, so that's good. If that's all it takes, compression fittings aren't too bad. The trick is knowing how hard you have to tighten them without overdoing. Because that's what everybody online was saying. Oh, well, if you over tighten these, you could break it and you're gonna have to cut it all off and everything else. If you're worried about over tightening it, be ginger, be very careful, and if it still leaks after you turn the water on, open it back up and see if that little olive slides back and forth on your copper pipe yet. Because if it does, it's not tight enough. Anyway, so that's that project. Now we're going to move on to more sanding of 2 1x6s and hopefully getting some of these vanities slid into place too after we test the water system for a couple hours. So we'll see you back here in a bit. All right, so the next project is to keep going with trim. So I'm going through and I'm cutting out all the nails and, excuse me, not nails, hammering in all the staples, getting all the shims out of this. Not getting them out, but cutting them and slicing them and making them where they're supposed to go. And after we do that, we can start taking our finished boards and putting them up in all these different things. So that's the goal anyway. We're going to hope that that's how it works out for all of it. A lot of stuff to pull out of these windows yet because I haven't gotten to them. But the goal is hopefully by next week that we have all of those trimmed out on the first floor here. And it'll go a lot quicker because A, we don't have to climb up everything. And B, we've got all of our boards now. I have every single board, hopefully, that I will need for the whole house. So I'm gonna hopefully finish sanding those between tomorrow and Monday and hopefully get us to the point where we can start putting these pieces in for all these doors and windows. We'll come back to you after I get the other stuff done. I'll get this one done. I'll try and get this other one by the kitchen sink done. I got this big one and I got that big one all on the first floor. So I'll get this all cleaned up and I'll come back to you. Well, it took me a tad longer than I wanted, but I cleaned up all of these. You can see the difference when there's no stuff. Well, it's all on the floor. But you can see the difference when there's no stuff in the window and how that looks. So that's looking good. And we got all the windows done and all scraped and there's no more stuff sticking to them. So the next part is going to be staining some more of these 1x6 pine boards and then measuring to get the interior pieces just like we did up there. But that is it for today. I don't know if I'm going to see you guys again tomorrow or some other time. It is nice to have all these lights. The other thing I did too was the water has been on the whole day. So we've been taking the opportunity to check the water systems. The one in the kitchen was a breeze. PEX is way easier to work with than copper. And so that one has been okay. The ones in this bathroom, there are no leaks here, and we know there's water to here because we tested that, and the paper towel is still dry. And if you look over here where the toilet's eventually going to go, that is also dry, which is very nice. Hoping very much that that valve is not in the way of the toilet. We're going to figure that out later. And then, what else? The upstairs ones were dry as well. So I can take you up there. I'll show you that. And at this point, water's been on for, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. So my trust of the system is fairly high. If it's not going to leak in the last 4 or 5 hours, it's probably not going to leak. So let's turn this light on. No drips on that paper towel. Just a shadow on that paper towel. No drips there either. And still nothing underneath. Yep. I thought there might be like condensation or something, but there's not even that, which is good. And this one, that's our last one. Looks good. No leakage on the paper towel there either. So it's a good sign. We'll leave this here. I am not going to mess with it at all. I will go downstairs, turn off the water, and we'll turn this on again tomorrow morning and let it be on the whole day. And then if it makes it the whole day, then I will have no problem leaving it on so long as I'm here every couple days. So I'm going to go do that, and we'll see you guys probably tomorrow. I'm going to come back tomorrow and do something here. I don't know what's next, but we got to keep progressing. So we also moved this big chunk of lumber. I shouldn't say we. I should say my dad moved all that lumber. And I didn't even tell you. I forgot the biggest part. The scaffolding's down. We've been using it as an extra lumber rack. Eventually, this one's going to come out of here once we're done painting all these boards and staining and sanding. And this will come out, and then we can start putting our cabinets in too, because they're all kind of just like everywhere. And they're in the way of other things that we have to get done. So anyway, this is where I'm going to leave you. Whether you guys come back tomorrow and watch the next video, or if you decide to log off and never come back to us again, that is totally fine, and that's up to you. But I'm happy you stayed and you enjoyed watching, hopefully. This has been Isaac here at Sterling Shire Homestead, and if you like what we do, consider liking and subscribing. And if not, hopefully we'll see you some other time. Anyway, peace out, everybody. I gotta clean this basement up. Jeez.